So we will get started. Let's just give it a few minutes for more folks to join in. Quite a few of you have joined already. The topic today is really interesting with how to find top stocks, and we'll go over 5-6 different ways we could do that, and also go over our latest feature, which is top 10 stocks in a group industry sector, and you can see those really quickly and efficiently with the data panel update. Let's just give it a few more seconds here for more folks to join in. Usually takes a while for Zoom to load up and join in, so we'll get started shortly. In the meantime, if you guys have any questions as I go through things, please place them in the Q&A chat. There's a Q&A tab at the bottom of your Zooms, and I have it up on my other screen. So when I'm looking here, I'm looking towards the Deepvue platform, and then here I have the chat and the Q&A open. Awesome. So let's get started. First, I want to make everybody aware that we do have the 2 months for $39. So if you're here today and you're not part of the platform or don't have a subscription, give us a try. You can take a trial for 2 months for $39, which renews at $49 a month. And then we also have the annual plan, which basically you save 2 months by going annual. Pricing, if you were to sign up today, you lock in the renewal rate of $49 a month forever. So when we go ahead and add more features, it's not going to cost you. It's going to be at the renewal rate of $49. You lock that in lifetime. And then if you sign up annual and you're getting involved with Deepvue early, and we're still about 14 to 16 months from our first public launch, that will be $490, and you lock that renewal price in as well. So when we add a news module, when we add a journaling module, and some of the features to the dashboard app as well, all of those will not cost you a lot more. And we are looking at price increase towards the end of the year, and that will only affect new people. And the folks that have already signed up, already have an active subscription, they will lock in the $49 a month or $490 a year renewal rate forever. So let's get right into it. Today's topic is how to find top stocks and top groups, and how to find those leaders really quickly. I will go over one of the first features that we have in the platform now, which is within the data panel. It essentially takes the data panel and makes it a lot more useful. Makes it something that you have to you want to use on a day-to-day basis, so that because it gives you that powerful information when it comes to what we've included in it now. So in the data panel, we'll start with the very basics. You can add any data points that are available across the platform. So you can select any of these or deselect them. But what happens is when you add sector, industry, sub-industry, and I'll also get group in here, we use the GICS structure. So the GICS structure is broken down into sector, group, industry, and sub-industries. What will happen is you'll see a drop-down arrow next to it. I'm going to zoom in just to talk about this a little bit so that it's very clear for all of us as to what it represents, what the idea is, and how it benefits us if we were to use it. So if we take a look at, we added sector, group, industry, and sub-industry. We get the names like we always do. So information technology, software and services, software, application software. But now next to it, you're going to see a drop-down arrow or an arrow down. And when I click on it, it's going to give me a few stocks that are in the same group. So the top 10 stocks sorted by relative strength gives me the price percent change for the day and the RMD rating over the last 15 days. Now, this information, what it does is it goes to the particular stock's sector, sorts the whole sector by relative strength, and then gives you the top 10 stocks for it right here in line. So as I'm going through, let's say I'm going through semis, or I'm going through Bitcoin names, or I'm going through, it could be, anything related to banks, for example, right? What are the top banks? etc. Or what are the top solar names in the market? It will give me that information really, really quickly as I flip through different names. So the first column is your top 10 names in that particular sector, if you're using the sector dropdown. The second is your price percent change. This is today's price percent change. The third is your relative strength 12-month, the relative strength 12-month rating. So we sorted by high to low. So 98 being your highest, most strongest, and then 94 for this sector is the 10th name on there. And then the last one is RMV. So if you're not familiar with RMV, it's relative measured volatility. As a stock gets closer to zero, it's more tight. The stock gets closer to 100, it's less tight. So we can see at a glance that within this sector, and this is the biggest umbrella we're talking about, the sector, GGAL and CIFR are some of the tightest ones, or BMA is another tight one, right? So now that's what this represents, and you could use this drop down, you could have it down, and as you, let's say we go through different names, let's go to my watch list, let's say Universe. If I go through CELH, it will fetch me the top 10 in that particular sector, give me that information, sort it by relative strength, and give me the relative measured volatility as well. Now, as you go through, let's just go through different names here. You'll see that the information on the data panel will change as we go through different sectors, and it's all there for you right away. The second thing you want to be aware of is the fact that this is all available on the most granular level, which is the sub-industry. It's the hierarchy of the GICS, sector being your broadest, group is underneath the sector, underneath the sectors. Then you have industries, and then within industries, you have sub-industries, which is your most granular level when it comes to the GICS or the S&P Global GICS standard. Same thing applies for all the 4 drop downs, right? You could use it on a sector level, you could use it on a group level, you could use it on an industry level, or you could use it on a sub-industry. I like using it on a sub-industry level because it gives me the most accurate picture as to which stocks are most closely related to, let's say, an NVIDIA. So if we were to just zoom out, and if I go to NVIDIA, it's telling me that ARMM has a relative strength rating of 97. I'll probably want to pay attention to that. AVGO is another name, and the beauty of it is you could click right into them, right? ARMM is the strongest in the group, followed by NVIDIA, which has been acting really well. AVGO, Qualcomm, CRDO is making it up there. First Solar. Now, a lot of folks are going to say First Solar is it's a solar name. But it's part of the way they file it, it's still in the GICS. It's part of the semiconductor space, and the GICS does not have a solar space. So it's not an error, but it's part of it. It's, not all, market structures are perfect. So the fact that we chose GICS is it's one of the most well represented, most accurate structures that we could have in Deepvue. So this view in and of itself, as you go through particular stocks and their sub-industry groups, makes it really, really easy for you to hone in on top stocks if you are to find a stock, a strong stock. So let's say if we go to PLTR, PLTR is part of System Softwares, and CVLT is one of the strongest names in that group with a relative strength rating of 92. So if we go through this whole group, it will give us the strongest stocks to look at right away. We could click any of these symbols and it will change. And the other thing that we could do is we could look at, out of this view that we have, we know that now is one of the strongest ones on here with a relative measured volatility of 0. The CYBR is another one that's getting relatively tight. So the RMV column gives you how tight that stock is relative to itself over a 15-day time span. So this is one of the updates that we made to the data panel. I will pause a little bit here to see if there are any questions regarding this. There are a few updates we will make to this. We're going to get rid of the decimal places for RMD, so it looks a little bit better. We're going to change the RS 12-month to an RS 3 or 6-month, which will give you an immediate kind of picture over what's happening over the last couple of months instead of a whole year. It's very applicable to swing trading. and also position trading as well, because you want to see which stocks are the strongest over the last couple of months, not the year. So some updates are coming to this. My favorite way to use it is have the sub industry as a drop down. And as I go through names, I can then really, if I like, something like Dell is acting well right in here, I would have gone to other stocks that are also acting well in that space or that sub industry relatively quickly. Do you select the sector via the drop down? Yes. So the way you add it, the way you want to add it is, let's just say, you click this. So I'll do that again. You click the pencil, right? You search up sector and you select the sector, and it will put it in the bucket that you select. So if I select this bucket, you see the blue highlight that comes around it. So if I want to add sector to this bucket, I can go select it first and then click there, and it will add sector at the bottom. I already have sector in here, so we'll go here. Let's just say I get rid of it and I add it back. It will add it at the bottom. I could drag it anywhere in this data panel, place it anywhere, and then if I just X out of it, it's going to have that sector for me, and all I have to do is click, right? You click anywhere here, it will bring that drop down for you. And this happens for sector, industry group, and sub industry as well. I lost you on the significant difference between industry and sub industry. Here, what we could do is just, I will have you guys maybe just Google GICS, and that will give you a really clear picture. We'll likely have a graphic out. I'll make a note of it as well, as to what industry is and what sub industry is and how they're different. So there's about 159 sub industries. There's about 73 or so industries. There's more groups, lesser groups, and then 12 sectors in the market. So the sub industry is the most granular level as to how the GICS structure is. So if you just go to google.com, type in GICS, S&P, press enter, you'll see how they've broken it down, right? Your sector is your biggest umbrella. Your group is your second biggest umbrella. Your industry is the third, and your sub industry is the most granular. And they break it down in a lot of detail there on their website. The option to display 3-month RS. So we won't add optionality to it. We don't want to customize everything here in this look. We want to build a little bit of habit of how people use this. So this will change to RS 3-month, but you won't be able to choose any column here, and we're not going to make it a screener table at the end of the day. So it serves a very specific purpose. We're going to change this to RS 3-month. We're going to get rid of the decimal places here to make it look a little better, but we're not going to have the optionality of it. Can you select the top 10 for a given sector? Maybe I missed that step. So the way you select it, you could just click on the symbol itself, and it will load that symbol up for you right away, right? So you can get those stocks pulled up on your charts right away. I think your question may be you want to select these for some reason to maybe add them to your watch list, or that could be something that we look at, some quick way of doing that. But at the moment, you cannot select the top 10. You can click into that chart and view it really, really quickly. So I see a lot of questions not related to this. I will get to all of those. Can you show us how to add group, sub industry, etc.? So I just went over that. I hope that makes sense. Slowly, how do you add the screen? Okay. Is there a way to display components of an ETF? So displaying components of an ETF, we're going to include that in the data panel as well. We've spoken about that internally. You'll have something called holdings, and it will show you the top holdings for ETFs as you're going through them. Right now, the best way to go through ETFs is to go to this H, and when I click that, it will give me the view, and it will give me the holdings by weight of SMH right away. And you could then X out of it, then you're back to your watch list. But anywhere in the platform you see a H next to the symbol, you will then see the holdings for that. Okay, let's keep going. Let's stick with the topic for today. I know I'll take some of the, is this coming or that coming, or are we working on this or that feature at the very end of the presentation. So this is one way, and you guys could clearly see how powerful this is. And as you go through stocks, right? You can have this drop down here, and it gives you a real clear picture of the market very, very quickly. Now let's go through some other ways that exist in Deepvue on how you could find some of the top stocks in the market really, really quickly. What I would advise you do is you go to My Screens. You go to the screener module on the left. So you click this screener module, you go to My Screens, you click the drop down, you go to screener presets. We have some of the scans built in already for you to look at day one when you sign up. You don't really have to do anything, right? You go to screener presets, you go under Deepvue, and there are some of the pre-built scans that find the strongest stocks in the market for you. The first one I'll cover today is Deepvue Leaders. So Deepvue Leaders, if I were to load this up and just go to edit filters, and I'll give you guys the exact criteria. You could look at the criteria on your end as well, as not some secret sauce. But let's go through this and why it makes, why is it a good scan? How, why is it, how does it track down some of the best stocks in the market, right? So we have our base criteria, which I'll go over one by one. And as you guys have questions, feel free to pop them in the Q&A. So group one is basically a liquidity criteria. So some of the strongest stocks in the market are usually the most liquid or somewhat, highly traded, have a lot of institutional interest, have some backing from, some of the biggest firms in the world. You want to be part of those liquid stocks, not a penny. It's hard to call a penny stock or a company that's not well known, doesn't have many sales, etc., or doesn't trade many shares on a per day basis. It's hard to call those stocks leaders in the market. So the base criteria we have is average 20-day dollar volume is 20 million. And essentially what that means is over the last 20 days, as we trade shares in the market back and forth, it's trading a minimum of $20 million for, on average over the last 20 days. That just ensures that there's some, back and forth buying and selling that's happening that creates volume in the markets, and you multiply that by price and you get dollar volume. So that's above 20 million. The second criteria that we have is we don't want stocks that move up, let's say 1% and move down 1%. So the ADR, the average daily range, which is the high, what is the high versus the low of a particular bar. The average daily range for those leadership stocks is at the very least greater than 2%. That's the second criteria. The third is you want it to be a common stock. It has to be ADR, etc. This is just to weed out some of the warrants, some of the other things that we have in Deepvue. So this will weed out and give you common equity or common stocks that are in our database. You want the price to be, now this is personal preference at the end of the day. The price can be above $10 or 12.5. We did, plot out this scan over a historical span and found out, 12.5 is the number where it kind of fit, got rid of some of the weaker stocks and kept some of the most liquid stocks or potential leaders in the market there. Again, this is completely personal preference. You can make this $10. It won't make a big difference in the scan. The last criteria in terms of liquidity, companies that are well known, etc., is that the market cap is at least $1 billion. So that's the last. So this is your base criteria. All of these have to be met for a stock to qualify for the Deepvue Leaders screen. The second group that we have, and all of these subsequent groups that we have, any one of the criterias, if it's met, so if absolute strength rating on a 1 month basis is 85. So if the stock is in the top 85 or is in the top 15% in terms of performance over 1 month, you want it to be on your screen. If it's in the top 15% in terms of performance relative to other stocks in the market on a 3-month basis, you want that to be there. And also the absolute strength on a 1 week basis to be greater than 90. So you want over the last week, these stocks, it's one of the top performing, top 10% in terms of performance as well. If it meets that criteria, you want any of these criteria, if they're met, you want that stock to come through on your screen. And this is what we call the OR group, right? So the OR group means If any of these conditions, any one of these conditions are met, that stock will make it to our screen. The third group is looking at essentially EPS growth, right? How much it reported this quarter, how much it's estimated to report next quarter, and you want you want companies that are growing, right? At least 20% is what we've put here, and you want the latest surprise. So the latest surprise, that means the street was somewhat caught off guard as to what the numbers, the company A or company B reported was a 40% surprise or more. So that's the third group. It includes some of the fundamentals, and we also threw in there, the absolute strength rating again, greater than 93, the absolute strength on a 3-month greater than 95. Group 4 is, you want companies that have earned a certain amount or done a certain amount of sales, not earned, but done a certain amount of sales. So the sales reported for the latest year, at least 100 million in sales. And then the sales reported for the latest quarter, for that one particular quarter, is greater than 25. This again is to say that the company has some track record, is making, some money at the end of the day. And you want those to show up. Because again, you're looking for the top stocks in the market. You're not looking for junk with this screen. So Group 5 is the same thing. You want the stock to be trending. So there's some trend criteria. The 200-day SMA today is greater than the 200-day SMA 1 month ago. If that's met, that means that the stock has has a upward trend on a 200-day basis or a 200-day time frame. The IPO date, so you're looking at some of the recent, winners in the market. And then again, we have the absolute strength. On a 1-month basis, you want the top 5% of stocks. If any of these are met, again, it's an OR group. This is also an OR group. If any of these are met, it will make it to the screen. So what we have on this screen is about 193 names. Now you could you could duplicate this particular screen that we made. So if you don't like some of the criteria that we put, all you do is click the 3 dots, you click duplicate, you bring it over to yours, you create a duplicate of all the filter criteria, and you could then edit any of these as you see fit. So if you don't want, this particular group to go away, you can get rid of it. It's completely customizable as to how you want it. And it's not a criteria, we set it for you based on some of the research that we've done, and you could always tweak it for yourself. So as you go through this screen, again, it's very powerful. It'll give you some of the top names in the market. You can build your watch list through it. It's one of the best screens that Richard from our team has built, and it encompasses a lot of the criteria from a price performance perspective, from a fundamental perspective, from a company that should have a track record. And these are some of the most liquid names in the market that you want to be looking at to build your watch list. The second screen that I will go over is the stage analysis leaders. This one is a really interesting one. The fact that, we have combined a few different aspects. So now, in Deepvue, you could scan for, give me all stage 2 stocks in the market. And it does it really, really well. We update the stages once a day at the end of the day. And, the first criteria of this screen is give me stocks that are early in stage 2, which is a 2A, and give me stocks that are in stage 2. Then we add a little bit of liquidity criteria with respect to average dollar volume being 20 million. Show me only equities because that's what I'm interested in. And then the second criteria, the group 2 and group 3, just look for strength in the market. So the, performance of that stock has to be in the top 15% on a 1-month basis, has to be in the top 15% on a 3-month basis. If that's true, I want to see that stock on my screen. Any of these are true, I will see that stock on my screen. Third is you want, the stocks in the top industry groups, in the top 25. Same thing on a 6-month basis in the top 25. And then there's another criteria to, absolute strength in 1 month has to be in the top 10% of the, in terms of price performance in the markets. That gives you, again, 235 stocks to go over. You could be far more stringent as to what your liquidity criteria is to kind of, minimize the number of names on the screen. You could take this screen and kind of copy it over to the Deepvue Universe and have it, mash those two screens together. But this is again to give you an idea of all stocks in the market that are in stage 2. As you go through them, you'll see strength, some of the highest strength in the market in terms of price performance, and the fact that many of these names or all of them will be in an early stage 2 or a confirmed stage 2 uptrend. So that's the second screen. Again, you go to the drop down, you go to screen and presets, you go to Deepvue, and you see the criteria for these screens right away. That you can then, take it, duplicate it, make it better according to your needs. And then, another great screen just to get some of the top names in the market into your watch list as well. The last one that I'll go over, and I think is one of the most robust, is the Deepvue Universe. So the Deepvue Universe essentially looks very similar to Deepvue Leaders, except it relaxes some of the criteria. It gives you a bigger basket of stocks, and you'll see that over here as well in the criteria. So we have our base liquidity criteria. We have some of the price performance criteria based on relative strength, and we look at top industry groups, and we also want, stocks just to generally be above the 50-day or the 200-day as well. But this is more of a weekend screen that you want to run on a day off, right, on a Saturday, Sunday, because it gives you a bigger basket. It gives you 500 plus names. It gives you a feel for, what are some of the top stocks in the market? How are they trading? So if you were to go through these, and it'll be relatively quick, you go through these 500 names, you'll see, is the market doing well? Is the, the breadth of the market, is it a sustainable trend that we're in, etc. And you could flip these charts relatively quickly to get a feel for that. And that's what, what you should be using the Deepvue Universe for. It's the biggest pool of stocks, gives you the best feel for the markets. And one of the scans that, you want to have, again, you could duplicate it, make your own, tweak it as to what you feel, how it fits your system in the market. So those were, the 3 screens under the Deepvue folder that you want to run to find stocks really, really quickly. I know a lot of, some of our other screens like the VCP, you could run that. That's a good one. There's another one underneath the liquid leaders. It's kind of the same thing. It will give you the top stocks in the market that are very liquid, has a high liquidity criteria. You could look at, on weekends, you could run the model book stocks. These are stocks that are up 100% or more and doing really well year to date. And it will give you, what are the themes this year? What's working? What's been up? You could go back and study those as well. And I would really, highly recommend these 3. And if you want to get really fancy with, the liquid leaders as well, these 4 screens will give you the top names of the market. There's no way these 4 would miss any of them. So with that, I will now take some questions. It's been 30 minutes. So we'll go through some of the Q&A and the chat. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll run through them pretty quick here. What's the difference between absolute strength and relative strength? So absolute strength is purely based on price performance. It's non-weighted. So if it's absolute strength 3-month, it's the 3-month performance of a stock. And we compare that performance with every other stock in our database, and we give it a rank. Relative strength is a weighted score. So it will take, it will weight the 1 month a little bit more than the 3-month. It will do a weighting of those 2 things, and will give more importance to the recent price action and weight it. So it's like a SMA versus an EMA type of thing, right? If you really want, if you boil it down to the very basics, absolute strength is your SMA, right? You want 3-month performance. What are the top gainers in the market? What are the top performing stocks? Which is very similar to SMA. It's non-weighted. You just equal out the average over a span of time. And then EMA is kind of what RS is at the end of the day. So that's the basic difference between those 2. Can you describe your MAs? My MAs are, it's a green, orange, red system. It's a traffic light system. So I have the 10-day, I have the 21-day, and I have the 50-day. My 10-day is green. because if price is being supported at the 10-day, you want to be part of that trend. So let's go to a stock I actually own. Let's say something like this. So I bought this somewhere over here on the second day of the gap up. So now price is above the 10-day. So it's a green line there. When price is closer to the 21-day, I get a little more cautious, right? It's an orange light. And then when price gets closer to the 50-day is when you want to be most cautious. So that's how I use or stack my moving averages. If you go to the Deepvue help menu, select this. There's good definition of AS and RS. I think I explained it pretty well. Let me know if that makes sense. Sheldon has a question. Are there charts of sectors? There are no charts of sectors just yet. It's something that we're working on, and we'll get to sometime this summer. There's a lot of things held up with our formula builder. So once that's out, you'll see a lot more progress on that, and we'll have tickers for sectors, industries, groups, and sub-industries as well. Will we be able to describe groups? I would say, when you click on Amazon, there's a group assigned to Amazon, or there's a sub-industry assigned to Amazon. So there's no, can I put something here instead of that? That's really not the purpose of this. When you go to a certain stock, it gives you the sub-industry for that stock, and then it gives you the top 10 stock, top 10 for it. I think what you mean is you want to be able to enter any sub-industry to see what the top 10 are. That's not the purpose of this. That is something that we will do in our sector and industry app, which will be in our dashboard. Is it real time for the chart? Yes, it's real time. Everything in Deepvue is real time when it comes to pricing data. Is there a way to reverse space on a watch list, control space on TC2000, or shift space on TradingView? There is no, you could just do arrow up and down, right? So if you want to go up or down, just use arrow up and down instead of shift space. So keep it pretty easy. You could do the arrow up and down to go reverse or up the watch list. Awesome. Will the data panel be added to the dashboard? Yes, it will be. That is being actively worked on. It will be in about 2-ish weeks from today. We'll have the data panel in the dashboard. If you have time at the end, can you discuss SG with the HV concept? Let's do that. Let's just do that. So if we take a look at SG, so we saw the highest volume ever on SG. It's a gap up. You come back in, price got supported at the rising 21-day. Now we're trading below. The biggest concern here was the closing range. If the closing range on the HV day is low, the price is going to need to consolidate for a few weeks. That's kind of the stance I came, looking. I was looking pretty foolish here because I felt, hey, I might have missed the boat here. But the fact that the closing range is poor, this stock is going to struggle a little bit. It needs a wider base as well. Where can we find the universe of videos for each feature of Deepvue after we subscribe? So there's emails that are sent out. There's Tuesday onboarding that we do as well. The link to that is deepvue.com/events. You also get an email for that. You can go to the help menu on the bottom left and go to webinars. Click this. You will see all the webinars that we've done in the past along with articles. And then next week, we're introducing the education module, which will be inside Deepvue. That will get you all the articles that we have, all the webinars that we have. You don't have to go anywhere else, and there will be an education tab. You click it and everything will be there. It will get you onboarded a lot better. So that's coming out next week, Monique. Is the data panel that you're showing a preset one? I don't think so. I can add this to the preset under top traders and my name. I haven't done that. I could do that after this call. It's a good catch. Can you scan or see at a glance what is the top sector real time during the day? We have sector ranks in the platform that update on a 1 week and a 1 day basis. So it can give you the top the top rank, but I will make note of that because we're working on an industry sector app, which will be in the dashboard, and this will be really useful for that. Industry rank real time. That way you can have a real-time view of what are, what is the top industry group, sector, or sub-industry in the markets really quickly. So we'll make it part of that. How do you get your screen to look like that so we can follow on our side? So you go to the screener module and you'll have the table on the left. This slider resizes your charts. So I got rid of it, but this slider resizes your charts. So all I did was resize it. To enable and disable the data panel, you want to click this button at the very top here to enable and disable it. And then you can also enable and disable the stats table, which is at the bottom here as well. How about showing the industry rank such as 12 out of 197? We are going to do that. So that will be coming out relatively soon. We're going to make the industry rank columns expandable as well. And that will show you the top industry ranked 1 to whatever as well. And also maybe we can even add it, restaurants, 2 out of whatever. Right in line here as well. So that is something that I'll take away and speak to the team about. So it could be something like software gives you a bracket, 2 out of whatever for software. It's a great idea. Will the current customers of the program be emailed? Yes, you will get a recording of this in a couple of days. Trying to duplicate the data panel, duplicate a data panel preset so I can edit it. So all you do is you go to data panel presets. So let's say we pick the Oliver Kell, we go to duplicate, and then just say, I want to give it this name. I click save. When you go under save data panels, it's not showing up. So that is a bug, John. I will take a look at it, take it back with the team. I'm pretty sure if I refresh, it may come back. Oliver Kell 1. I go to save data panels. It is not showing up. So that is a bug. We will fix that. The team is likely already working on it. I'm just not aware of it. Thanks for pointing that out. With the OR group, do you test? Do you need at least one item in each group or every group to pass the test? So with the OR group, the logic is if one of the items in the group passes the test, the stock is going to show up on your screen. So the way you verbally read that is relative strength 1 month is greater than 90, or relative strength 3 months is greater than 80, or relative strength 12 months is greater than 70. So if any of these, if a stock meets any of these criteria, it will come through and then it will hit this criteria, which is your base one. In addition to it meeting any of these, does it have all of these? Because this is an AND group, right? All of the criteria here in the first group has to be met for the stock to show up. Does Deepvue screen include all Deepvue folder screens? Yes. So if you go under this dropdown, you go to screener presets, you go to Deepvue. The Deepvue Universe screen incorporates the Deepvue Leaders screen into it and also the Liquid Leaders into it because it's your widest basket in terms of the number of names. So it's casting a wider net on the markets as well. And once we introduce some of the combo screening and things of that nature, you'll be able to combine different screens on the fly, which is coming down the pipeline pretty soon as well. Where is the WCP screen preset? So you click the drop down, you go to screener presets, you just type in search is what I did. And you just type in volatility contraction pattern. You click that and it will load up some of the names and the criteria for it is right here as well. So it's based on RMD, which is not a surprise. It's searching for that. And then it's also searching for strength and price. The stock has to be above 50 day. Can we use multiple time frames to screen, example, monthly, weekly, daily, altogether? That is coming. in our formula builder, that's something we've been working on the past couple of months. Something that the UI is being worked on now, which will give you full flexibility. You could say, give me the price percent change the last 1 hour, and it will give you that. Or you could say, give me the price percent change over the last 1.5 years, and it will give you that as well. So that way will be entirely up to you. You can say, give me the price percent change for 53 days randomly, and I'll give you that as well. So that is being worked on in terms of UI, and the back end of it is complete. So we'll have a completely flexible formula builder out in the next couple of months here. Smart, great idea. Thank you. Why don't you use oscillators such as RSI? It's just something I don't use in my trading. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. I've used it before, especially the monthly RSI. I used to use that a while ago. I just don't use it now. It's just not part of my trading. Can you touch on the use of highest volume ever? Highest volume ever is essentially the highest volume the stock has ever traded as a publicly traded company based on technical volume data that we have since IPO. It represents a huge volume signature. It's a game changer, or something's happened that spurred new interest in the stock. If you go out and study any stock that has gained 5,000% over 15 years, 12,000%, 50,000% over decades, they will always have a highest volume ever signature somewhere down the line. And that's why it's a huge part of my trading. Are chart presets out? No, chart presets are not out. The next few things that we're working on is data panel for the dashboard. After that, we're really close to releasing the formula builder, which will kind of complete the screener module. Then we'll go to sections and combo screening for watch lists, and then conditional alerts. So that's kind of the sequence we're going in. Chart presets will be out after data panel presets are being done and finished as well. So we'll finish data panel presets, release them, then we'll come back to charts and do the presets for those. So still, I would say 6 weeks away from that. How did you identify the gap up if you go back to Aspen, ASPN? So let's just go here. How do you identify the gap up? So this volume is the highest volume in a year. So the way you identify the gap up, I have one of my screens. If you go here, I should have it in here, and I don't. So if you click here, you type highest. And if you scan for these 3 things, highest volume in a year, highest volume since IPO, and highest volume ever, I do this daily. So I have a dashboard dedicated to it under daily screens, and I call it the HV screen. And I have these check marks built in, and I screen for this daily in the markets. So there's no way I can miss, a gap up like that, given that we have this criteria. So I'll go there again. You type in highest, and you can, take a look at these screens. Okay, that is done. My data panel does not update when I click a symbol in my screen. Give it a good old refresh. We are aware of one issue with connectivity sometimes when you leave Deepvue open. That is being fixed tomorrow morning in terms of connectivity, but just give it a refresh. It will start working after tomorrow. You won't have to refresh for that to happen. Our future contracts also being listed. They're in the pipeline. They are not in the platform just yet. We'll get indexes done first, crypto second, Forex, OTC markets, and then we will have CFDs in terms of indices, and then we'll maybe get into future contracts. But that data is super expensive. We want to have a very affordable subscription. But if we go for the kill and go to CBOE and ask for future contract data, it's super expensive and hard to maintain a $49 price for that. Multi-monitor capability is not available yet. It is being worked on. It will be something that we do in the next couple of months. It's in the pipeline. It's been planned out as well. Maybe add sector, group, industry, and sub-industry to heat map views. Yes, we will do that. It's a great idea, Mike. So I'll write that down. Just give me 1 second. Okay, that will happen. It's a great idea. How far in the future will the replay or paper trading? Q1 next year, or late Q4 around right before Christmas, is when we will kind of start on that in terms of especially broker connections and journaling. I'm not sure if we'll do paper trading per se. That's not a huge focus of ours, but we will get to that. Thank you. Great work. Thanks so much. Are all these features available on iOS and iPad? We're building the iOS app pretty quickly. Go to the App Store, download it, look at the changelog, some of the updates that we've made. The dedicated iPad app will be available at the end of Q3 this year. So that is something that will happen where we will, if you have an iPad, you go to the iPad store, App Store, right? It will be a different app from the iOS. That is being worked on, but our iOS is coming along pretty well. We've made major progress in terms of seeing your watch list, to charts. They chart speed, alerts, alert notifications, and next week we're rolling out swipe charts, which I think will be the best way to view charts on mobile. So that will be something to look forward to next week. Great, thanks, Anonymous. Okay, will the data board include market cap or enterprise value to the past 12 months? So everything will have a historical component to it in the data panel relatively soon. It's not available just yet. We have the data for it. We just don't show it on the front end. So every fundamental data point will have a historical component with a chart drop down where you could see what was the market cap today and what was the market cap over the, just in a graph format as well. So I hope that answers that. When is the iPad app coming? End of Q3. Write that down. We'll get it done. We're going to start working on it July. So work begins July, probably end of July, early August. We'll have some initial iteration out. And then from there, we'll iterate and improve. Any plans for a desktop version? No, likely in Q4, but we will not have a full-fledged desktop downloadable version. Not the biggest priority, I would say, at the moment. On your high volume screen, how do you make it find the highest volume today? It automatically finds it for today, Marty. So you get that right away. So it already scans for the high volume screen. As the market opens, it will reset that and scan for the current day right away. If you want to get a daily focus group, say 30 stocks, how would you modify the leader screen? Increase the liquidity criteria is always the best thing you could do. Increase, price greater than 12.5, increase that to 15, 18. The higher price stocks are your leading stocks. It's a fact. Even when they do splits and all that, NVIDIA is still one of the top, in terms of market cap, price is above 100, etc. So as you increase the liquidity criteria, you'll get better, higher quality companies. Second is you can increase in terms of the revenue that we were looking at, right? For the current quarter from 25 million is relatively low. You can increase that to 75, 80, closer to 100. That will also increase the quality of that screen as well. So those are two ways. The more liquid you get, the higher price stocks you look at, the better in the markets. Preset to combine. Yes, I will do that after this webinar. We will have a preset out to combine all three, and you guys will have the exact screen that I'm using. So I will make that and tweet it out as well. I run it on a daily basis. When we do have the formula builder, you could run it. You could go back in time and run it on, what were the highest volume names that showed up on October 10, 2019. So that's something we're working on to give that flexibility to go back in time and study stuff. But right now it runs for current day. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Again, just to recap, we covered three things or three ways. The first one being the data panel, right? It's now expandable. You can minimize it, expand it as you go through different stocks. You'll see the top stocks in those groups. I spoke about screener presets. If you go to our screener presets, Deepvue, your Deepvue Leaders, Stage Analysis Leaders, and Deepvue Universe. Those three screens, if you go through them, look at the criteria, really understand what we're going for here. Deepvue Universe is your biggest net on the market. It will give you the biggest amount of names. Deepvue Leaders, it will give you some of the top quality names, closer to 100, 150. Stage Analysis is all stocks that are in stage 2 are liquid and above the 50-day and are acting really, really well and are among the top 15% in the market in terms of absolute strength. They will show up, and there's no way any of these three screens will ever miss a name that's about a trend or go up, hundreds and hundreds of percent. So those are some of the ways to scan for top stocks. I hope you guys found this valuable. And if you guys have any questions while you're watching this on YouTube after the fact or on Twitter, leave them in the comments. We will answer them. And I hope you are enjoying Deepvue. It's gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot faster. Performance is a huge focus. If you guys ever have any questions, always press the bottom left help icon. You click contact us, and we will respond to you right away or in a couple of hours. So any questions, go to contact us, right? Any feature requests, you can submit them as well. Any ideas, we love hearing those. And if you want to see what was released recently, you go to news at the bottom of this, you click news, you can see some of the recent releases. Our recent release was 11 days ago. The next one is tomorrow, which will bring some improvements and new features to the platform as well. So watch out for that. We will send out an email. We'll do a walkthrough of what's changed as well. So I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next webinar.